Welcome to the Fair Lawn Chamber of Commerce Business Spotlight. My name is Alan Cohen. I am on the board of directors of the Fair Lawn Chamber of Commerce. Weekly, I do interviews with local businesses and organizations in our community. This is to introduce these organizations and businesses to the public at large and also to our community. I'm certainly excited to be here today because I have a special guest for you today. His name is Don Morris. He's the first vice commander of the American Legion, post number 171. This is my first interview dealing with the American Legion, and I'm very excited to have Don with us. Hi, Don. How are you? Thank you for joining us today.
Good morning, Alan. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
My pleasure. So I'm very excited about this. I support our armed forces 100%, and of course our veterans who really, gave their service for us to live here in America and be free. It's really a pleasure to have you with us. So Don, tell us a little bit about what you do. What does first vice commander actually do for the American Legion?
Okay. Well, actually, it's probably a little bit different in each post. As far as the TO or the ranking order, I'm the number 2 person in responsibility at the post. Of course, we have our commander, Madeline Barrett, who is in charge. I'm number 2 as first, and then we have 2 other vice commanders, a second and a third, Jack Delaney and Jerry Greenwood. We also have a chaplain. These are all veterans, by the way. Larissa is our chaplain. We have Rudy Williamson, who's our adjutant, who's retiring after 20 years, and Rishi's going to take his spot. We also have a board of trustees. 4 of the officers are on the board, and they do more the business side of the post. As I mentioned earlier, I think...
Let me ask you, before we get into the individual roles, I see here it says on your website that the American Legion was chartered by Congress in 1919 as a patriotic mutual help wartime veterans organization. And it's a community service organization which now numbers nearly 3 million members. Wow, I didn't realize that many men and women in nearly 15,000 American Legion posts. So give us an overall scope of what the American Legion actually does for its veterans.
Okay, well, that's it, yeah. The one thing before we go there, and we discussed earlier, there's a common misconception about, the various veterans organization. The American Legion is the largest and has the most members of all the veterans organizations. And there are 4, the American Legion, the VFW, which is the Veterans of Foreign Wars, the Catholic War Veterans, and the Jewish War Veterans. To join the American Legion, you must have served honorably in the military, and a veteran. To join the VFW, you must have served overseas, and as I understand, been in a combat zone. And as far as the other 2, it's really just if you're Jewish or if you're Catholic, you can join either one of those. The American Legion for years, and you mentioned, was a wartime organization. And that changed because up until last year, which is our 100th anniversary, as you noted, there were 3 or 4 blackout periods in the 50s. So you could serve in the honorably as a veteran from 52 to 54, but you could not join the Legion because there was no war going on. That was changed. So that from now, if you served from December 7th, 1941, which of course Pearl Harbor, up until now, which is we're continually still in a wartime atmosphere, you can join the American Legion. So those have been wiped out, and that was a very important thing to do.
Yeah.
As far as, what we do for veterans, and this I think is the key and critical to what I'd like people to understand today. First of all, our post is a large one. We have 150 members. Most posts have less than 100. Some have 10 or 15. I know we have 2 in the towns next to us that have single digits, and a couple have closed. And the problem is younger veterans today, for the most part, really don't have the time or the inclination to join them as they did in the past. We have 150 members, of which approximately 10 or 15% participate. That means in activities for the post and so forth, and the various things we get involved with, which include, and we're an aging. Typically, most of these veterans organizations are older individuals, older veterans. We have a few World War II people left. We have some Korea. Vietnam has become, I'm from Vietnam here, and I'll be 76 next month, so I'm one of the younger veterans on our post. But we do have some Iraq veterans. We have that are very active. We have a number of females. Since I've come on board, I've noticed that we've added 4 or 5 females. A couple of them are police officers in Patterson, which are good to have around.
Yeah.
And that's positive. Nurses, a couple of nurses. As far as what we do for veterans, it's more of an outreach. We help veterans get their benefits. In Fair Lawn, we're very fortunate to have Nick Magarelli. Nick Magarelli is a full-time employee of Fair Lawn, of the town, and he is the liaison with all the veterans. That's all he does, is handle veterans issues. He helped one of my son's friends who was a Marine. He got him his benefits, took him down to Hackensack because he was confused about this. So it's wonderful, and I think that's rare. I don't know if that exists in any other towns. We sponsor programs. We have, as you've seen, our venue is the building and the hall and so forth. They're very nice, very large. We have a chat and chew group that Ann Burns brings in, which teaches veterans how to cook. They come in for 6 weeks, and male and female, and they bring a chef in, and they all have dinner, and they teach them all how to cook. They give them all the food. And it's an absolutely wonderful organization, and they come in every year to our post. We sponsored Scott, and I always trouble with his last name, Lebedo. He did an incredible setup of a number 22 actually statues representing the 22 veterans that kill themselves each day. He travels around the country, and he picked Fair Lawn as the East Coast place and he picked our post actually to have this last year. We're supporting a military signing day at Fair Lawn High School. We're now, instead of the guys going off to college to play ball, they're now going to also have or consider having the Veteran Signing Day, where the various officers from the Army, Navy, Marines, Air Force, Coast Guard actually sign, and they take their oath that day, the same as the athletes. A principal down in Rutherford started this a couple of years ago, and it's absolutely wonderful. We have a paper program for all veterans where that they can. We have. I don't know if you've seen the municipal building in town, but there's the Walk of Heroes where that you put in the name, years of service, rank, and it's a wonderful way to honor the veterans, and it's ongoing. You can do this anytime, and we can give you the information on that. We do flag retirements, which is we enjoy doing it, but it's becoming a problem because when you retire American flags, you have to burn them. And there's a ceremony. And unfortunately, we're one of the few posts that do it. So a lot of towns dump their flags on ours, and a lot of them are plastic now, or these polyester. So it's really, you get some really bad smoke. So we're going to have to, figure out another way to do this in the future. But we'll retire 1,000 flags twice a year.
Twice a year. Over 2,000 flags get retired.
Yeah. Yes, and just two other things. The Memorial Day Parade. We are the ones you'll see marching in there, and we're with the VFW, the Catholic, and the Jewish War veterans. We put the flags. We put the flags at the ceremony at the cemetery with the Boy Scouts on the day before. They put the flags honoring their service. We also do a lot of funerals. It's part of our responsibilities. If a veteran dies, we go in, and typically the commander will read the prayer. And lastly, and this is my favorite, is on Veterans Day, we go to the schools. We go to I guess we have like 7 schools in Fair Lawn, talk to the students about the military, about veterans. From my own perspective, I was 18, Vietnam was on, I was not a great student. I went in the Marine Corps, and I grew up. I learned discipline, teamwork, and it was probably the best thing I ever did. So we tell them that, you can take a gap couple of years if you want, and then by the time you come out, employers actually today, I think, are giving veterans a leg up as far as jobs, because they know pretty much what they're getting. So that's pretty much what we do. I probably left out a couple of things, but.
Yeah, that's incredible. So really, you're a support system for these veterans that might have come home. Some of them are retired. Obviously, like you said, you still have a lot of the older ones that need probably community and an organization such as yourself to maybe share their stories, share their emotions. I'm sure a lot of them that were in the actual combat still have memories of this post-traumatic stress and all that stuff. Do you deal with that also? Do you have psychologists or whatever that might help work with them, or can you direct them to different areas to help them with that kind of thing?
We don't, I mean, as far as the posts, we're all volunteers, so we don't get involved at all with or we don't see it, which is good, because most of the veterans that belong to our post did not serve in combat. And as I mentioned earlier, I think, and I'm not sure what the percentage is, but of any group, for every one guy out there, you need 8 behind him. And so we don't run into a lot of that. Our veterans are older. Some of the Vietnam fellows, I'm certain, have issues. But Nick Magarelli, again, the liaison in town, is the individual, and maybe at some point you may want to speak to him, that deals with that sort of thing, where, getting your help, getting you to Hackensack, getting you benefits to the VA hospital and so forth. Yeah. But we don't. And it's also morphed also, Alan, a little bit, and I think this is true of most of the posts. Years ago, 15 years ago, it was a very social place to be. When you see the video of our post, we have a bar lounge, you have a big hall that holds 200 people. You got a commercial kitchen. I mean, the place is wonderful. We have we rent it very easily. Well, until this last 6 months. And years ago, this place was hopping every day, back in the 60s, 70s, 80s. Now, not so much. I mean, you rent the bar out occasionally when you have a party or something, and there's a TV in there. But so it's changed, I think. The veterans today, two people working, younger families, whatever it is, they don't gravitate towards, let's say, our post the way they did. And this is something we understand.
Is that because they feel it's for the older vets, or I mean, if you were in the Iraq War, or maybe some of the later ones, you come back, you still need some kind of support system, I would imagine.
Well, they do, but I don't think maybe they go out to go out bowling at a local tavern with their friends. But
Right.
Years ago, I mean, look at the Knights of Columbus or the KSC, all these organizations we've had, the Elks. I don't even know where they are anymore if they're around. But I'm just saying that they have changed. I mean, a lot of these fellas are staying, and ladies are staying home with their families. Where in the 60s and 70s it was different, and I think that's probably the biggest thing. But there are posts that Rochelle Park, one I can think of, that's very active, and their bar is open, and it's almost like, not like a business, but ours is a little bit different. Maybe our town makeup's a little bit different, but
You mentioned that you're one of the larger ones on the East Coast. Is that because there's just so many of those veterans here in Fairlawn? You mentioned that, and Rochelle Park was also very big. So, do we have a strong, service-oriented community at the time, or did they end up like coming back here?
Mostly, just from my background, I was a member of the American Legion for about 10 years. All right. So sometime starting around 2009 or 10. But I never went to a meeting. One meeting a month on the second Friday. And I never went to one. But then one day, my neighbor who's in Korea, and my buddy Mike up the block, who was in National Guard, said, let's go and try it out. So we did. And we've been involved ever since. So the majority of the veterans that we have, the 150, it used to be 170. Some years our net gain is nothing. Maybe we'll have a net loss because of unfortunate circumstances, because of the aging of the group. So, but ours is bigger, I think, because of the town, going back for the last 20 or 25 years. Because again, the average veteran that's in our post has got to be pushing 70.
Yeah.
So, Rochelle Park, on the other hand, I think they have a guy standing by standing outside the plane waiting to sign these guys up. I don't know how they do it, but they have about 4 times or 3 times what we have. But, God bless them,
So I would imagine from the different wars, there's a lot of different needs for these veterans. Obviously, the older ones, World War II was I think we all stood behind that. But you mentioned to me that you were from Vietnam. That has to be a whole different, level of what you went through coming back. And a lot of the Vietnam, veterans, obviously, we didn't support it as much, I think, as a country. So when you came back, you probably had a lot of different hardships yourself. I mean, we don't have to get technically into you unless you like to speak about it, but I would imagine each war has its own need, and the veterans have their own specific needs because of the stature of the war itself.
I was never in Vietnam. I was in Camp Lejeune in North Carolina, in 2nd Marine Division. So
you didn't go to military service, but wasn't that during that period?
It was during that period, but I think the fellows that were over there,
yeah,
and we have of the people I know, because of the 150 veterans, I only know about 20 of them. I'm in charge of membership, so I know all the names and I send them their cards. But the ones in the post that I know that served over there, they're actually one is getting disability benefits or something. But I don't really talk about it much. As I say, most of the fellows that were there are. Really don't talk about the war that much. It's we don't sit around telling war stories. even the young people from Iraq, the young ladies and so forth, and Rishi, you know, he was a machine gunner. He doesn't talk about it, you know. So
it's more just a social event and just way to keep people together, I would imagine then.
well, it's to provide support to the veterans and to be the I guess the picture. Like again, when you watch a Memorial Day parade, all right, 30 years ago, I mean, when we moved into Fairlawn, you had tons of people coming down and all these veterans. Well, now when you have it, well, this year was different because of the COVID, but you know, you all have 15 guys, but then you'll have 4 trucks full of the guys sitting there because they can't walk 3 miles to the Circle of Heroes down by Memorial. So it has changed, but we're the ones you'll see the face of the veteran in a lot of these ceremonies and so forth. And
I believe we still have to show you guys off, you know.
Hope so.
I mean, we have to support our veterans and we have to support our current situation, the current services. So, not to get political, I don't want to get political, but how do you feel what's going on? We don't have to one side or the other, but are we supporting the veterans enough in general, or the actual mindset of the normal person, do you feel?
I think the normal person is, yes. I think the town of Fairlawn, in fact, you know, again, Nick is the face of the veterans up in the municipal building. You drive around Fairlawn, you'll see all these. I don't know if you've done it yet, but take a look up on these light posts. They're the picture of maybe, I don't know, there's 130 of them by now.
Yeah.
Of all of the veterans. I'm by Ray's Pizza. I got the the best spot in town, but.
Get a slice, you get
but I mean, they don't do that in other towns. And
well, I know that was initiated with the Fairlawn Chamber of Commerce, I believe.
Right. I don't know where it started. If it did, thank you, Tony.
Thank you, Tony. Tony, you got a little kudos today. Oh, Tony's wonderful. She helps so much. It keeps us organized. And I believe, I don't know if she's the one who originally initiated that campaign, but definitely Tony and the Fairlawn Chamber of Commerce has definitely raised the money to put those flags up. I think it's beautiful to see a town that has that type of patriotic understanding and really recognize our patriots, you know.
Yeah, well, and they're also, the Fairlawn High School is, I know it's held up because of what's going on now, but they're putting up a memorial in front of the school to the veterans, right on Burdan and to the right side of the school. It's going to be a very nice monument. They've gotten the money for it. And that, again, I don't know what other towns do, but I don't think it's as much as ours does. And
you ever do co-sponsorships or co-meetings with the other organizations, locally around, not too far distance?
We have tried a couple of years ago, and I won't get into the specifics, but there is some American Legion post. If you ever look at the list in Bergen County, in fact, I'll send it to you. You can see how many members are in these 50 or 60 posts, and some are single digits. We have made offers to have them come and join us because, again, we have this big, wonderful venue and a great town. And as so far, we've not had any luck with it, whatever that is. And I'm not in that decision making. It's something Madeline will do, or her predecessor Jack Delaney would do as far as outreach to that. I think it's a great idea. I think it's the strength in numbers, and you get some new blood in here. But we'll see.
Yeah, it's tough.
Progress.
Well, I would like to take this time right now. Let's show a little video that you had about the hall and the hall rental, and Let me just connect that. It's a video that Don has shared with us. Hopefully you're seeing that at this point, and here we go. All right, terrific. So book your events now. There you go.
We'll give you a deal.
Good deal. I know we do a lot of the, when we were meeting physically, we did a lot of the meetings, excuse me, at the fair for the Fair Lawn Chamber of Commerce at the actual hall itself.
They had them in the bar and lounge. Those the luncheons, the monthly luncheons.
Yeah, the monthly luncheons.
Yeah.
So it's great. Well, Don, would you like to give us something in closing? A little inspiration, a little something to help sign off with.
Actually, there's nothing. I've covered pretty much everything I wanted to. I appreciate Tony and you taking the time to do this, and I hope people enjoy or understand what I had said today or what I've said today. And it's a great organization. And especially if any veterans are watching, I don't care how old you are, come and join us. And as I've told many of them, Alan, you don't have to come. You don't even have to come. You come once a month or once every other month. But it's a great place to be, and a great bunch of guys and ladies, excuse me, a great bunch of people. But that's pretty much it at this point, yeah.
That's great. Well, my little inspiration is I want to thank all the veterans from all the wars for serving our nation and really keeping us safe from the oldest ones to the newest ones. And I think it's very important, that us as a community, as a country, that we help support the veterans that served our country and really made the country what it is today. So it's Don Morris. It's really been a pleasure speaking with you. Thank you for enlightening us about the American Legion Post 171 here in Fair Lawn. Once again, that was Don Morris, 1st Vice Commander.
Thank you, Alan.
Pleasure.
Amen.
Amen. That's right. Amen. Okay. I'd like to sign off. My name is Alan Cohen. I'm on the board of directors for the Fair Lawn Chamber of Commerce. I'd like to thank them for the opportunity for these business spotlights, including these organizations such in our community. We do have a great community. And as we still are getting out of this COVID-19, God bless everyone. Godspeed, and may everyone be safe.